originally.
There's rhyme and reason 90% of the time. 10%, who knows? Well, speaking of reasonable things, Square One definitely not looking to reinvent the wheel here. Coming out on 3-3. Meanwhile, looking at Skyfoxes, going to be going with a Risa Hog double sniper. So Skyfoxes again, trending towards the Risa Hog side. Boostio immediately strikes.
Finding that first pick on Dub, which is so important because now it's much harder for Square One to engage, but they are going to get an effective engage. They're going to dive all onto Max, finishing him off so quickly there. Because Skyfoxes, they're not mobile. They're not mobile in that composition. They can't get away. You see Jolt going to be coming back in as well for Hot Take to zone, to continue to zone this backline for Skyfoxes, these DPS heroes.
Square One, they're just going to move the point. They know that they're set up tankier on point, and they immediately get first control. And this is the problem that you have when you're on double sniper, is that if you're not doing what Boostio just did there, it's hard to get onto a point, but 2 clean pickoffs. Boostio in a really good spot. This should be enough, but you lose 2. Last round of the fight. Now Square One can hold on.
As Angelic, he finds another, Boostio, he's finding more picks, but at the end of the day, even though they traded frags, Square One, they have so much sustain. They have so much sustain here in these fights between their Zarya, between their Brigida, the Lucio. They just can stay alive for a long time, and even if you trade out, it's far better for Square One.
Also, if this keeps up, Boostio is going to need a chiropractor at the very end of this. This has been a one-man carry job, but hasn't been carried enough.
Early back on the hot date, followed up with that Dragon Strike attitude. Gonna find 2, gonna find 3 attitude. Getting those early pickoffs, and now with 3, that's enough. That's all you need, especially because it's one thing to get 3 picks after the fight's already over, but to get them in the intro of the fight, to get them in the beginning, that's the fight. It's done. Well played.
However, Square One still in a really good spot, 52% to 0, and Skyfoxes, if they don't get early pickoffs, they're still getting the same scenario where Square One, they can just go directly to the point.
That is the weakness of Skyfoxes versus a comp like this, is that weak point control, and they are completely reliant on picks. Almost entirely reliant on picks, whether it be the halt hook combo or getting those picks from snipers. Square One also coming up on grab on their support ults, so a lot of ability to just close out the fight for Square One if they can just get one.
Square One diving on in. Boostio though, gonna get the D-Mech on the other side. Jolt, not quite to Primal Rage yet, getting poked on down. Might not get it before falling. But even if Square One loses this fight, which is looking more and more likely, his attitude gets a Moira.
Tries to go back into it. He walked into it on accident. I don't think he meant to. So now that's another fight going the way. Skyfoxes, they're continuing to sustain here.
How does Skyfoxes win the next fight coming up here? Square One is going to be loaded.
It's picks. It's literally all, their comp is entirely based off picks. They have no defensive ults. Well, they have a trance, but they don't have it yet. They don't have a lot to sustain. They don't have a big a front line in terms of being able to just take the fight into them. It's all based off these picks from Boostio and Attitude. Square One, they're going to be coming in with Bomb, which is always great against Bunker. They also are going to have they're also going to grab. There's just a lot of opportunity for Square One.
Skyfoxes, see how they deal with it. Dove immediately opens with the grab, an early pickup from Boostio, gets the Moira. But as we say that, Square One, they just dive in off the Graviton. The Graviton, far too decisive, and all right, you get 1 pickoff. It's not enough. Square One going to reflip the point. But Skyfoxes, I think they got enough there. This is still quite winnable at 80%.
Well, getting chased down here in the corner. Gonna drop the shield, but he's still gonna get chased. He's not gonna be able to get healed. He gets the halt, but bye-bye. Jolt's out of there. Square One getting the pick, but they did have to use a lot of ults here. They have double support ult, so this scenario, this is where Square One, they actually can't give them any space, because not only is the Transcendence gonna allow Skyfox to enter and sustain, but the Supercharger, it could force some ults here out of Square One very easily. And it does, it already forces full lesson. There's the beat, try to keep Hot Tate alive.
Hot Tate is still alive. It was just in the nick of time. And Hot Tate, so moving around. Hot Tate still down, unable to get back into mech. And Square One in a bit of trouble here. Down 1 already. Skyfoxes pushing on in. The rally about to fade. All comes down to Dove here, getting Graviton real soon.
Dove's going to Graviton very soon, but Jolt also has the Primal. He can go for the displacement. He gets 2 off this Primal. Dove's Primal getting so much value. He's trying to deny Mac the res here as well. Mac, he's going for it. He's getting booped. He does get Clone Man.
They have to get to point, though. It's 99%. Someone got there. But this is really good for Square One. They're in a much better position. They deal with the D.Va that sacrifice life. And yeah, they're just going to use grab. Can't fly away from that as Mercy. And Square One just tankier. Meteor on the point. And Skyfoxes was unable to do enough. And the sad thing is, Skyfoxes was getting pickoffs. It just wasn't enough.
They also weren't denying Jolf nearly enough. I think that's definitely a problem here, is that Jolf can't be getting this much value from Taze in general versus a comp like that where you have a Hog, you have a Zid, you have double Sniper, or a Hanzo. because you should be able to shred Winston repeatedly. Just shred Winston. You can't deny him. You can't allow him to get that primal, because primal is actually great, especially if they're forcing them into a situation where you're in very often on Sanctum, which is you're against ledges. You're against, you know, environmental hazards.
So, heading into the next round, square one, up one. And remember the narrative heading into this, where Skyfoxes is a team that would very much like to compete with the Gruntos of the world, but if you lose to a struggling square one team here, it doesn't say good things about your odds moving forward. So a lot more pressure on Skyfoxes to turn this one around.
Skyfoxes coming out here on a solo healer comp. They're playing solo heal comp. They are going to also have a Pharah. This is a tough comp to execute, because when you're going to play Pharah and you're going to potentially run against any DPS heroes at all and you want max effectiveness, you need that Mercy pocket. But there's only one healer for the entire squad. But it's as I said, bye-bye Hot Nate.
That was also awkward tracing move there, where Hot Nate looked confused as to where he wanted to go there. Skyfoxes opening pickoffs. They lose Pharah, but still in a decent spot. Counter hack onto Sombra. Well done. And Skyfoxes, we'll see if they can leverage this into a first pick. Again, the issue is keeping enough bodies on point, but so far, tide of battle going their way. Big Ol just going to be taken out of the sky. And slowly but surely, Skyfoxes is getting control of the point.
Jolf still in there. Hot Nate is going to be hacked, and they get the flip though. Yes, Skyfoxes will get the flip. Lastro, he's on Torb. He's on Torb now. There's no Pharah on the field anymore, and Max also solo heal Lucio. So a very, very interesting swaps coming out of Skyfoxes, as Big Ol, he's been cleaning up repeatedly. Jolt, he's in that backline, he's staying alive, tries to throw on the Ana.
Pick onto the Hammond on the other side. Enough healing to keep Hammond in the fight. Also, I think Attitude was out of the fight for a long while, looking to take off reinforcements, but the result of that is that he wasn't back over on the point helping secure it either, so there's kind of a risk that I'm not sure entirely paid off.
What is this composition from Skyfoxes? I'm pondering. It's seemingly working because it's all based around picks, Lucio, Attitude, even Lastro just finding picks repeatedly versus this, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because realistically all Square One has to do is just not die. Forehead, just don't die.
Well, meanwhile for Skyfoxes, Battle Torb in play. They get two immediately, so if the goal was just not die, guess what? They did die! It's not exactly working out well for Square One here, and the unconventionalness of this Skyfoxes comp, somehow working.
Square One should swap. They should swap, go 2-2-2. They should actually just get dive tanks right now. They're going to keep Joel probably on the hammer because he's going to have mines, which will be all right. But realistically, if they just have two dive tanks to mitigate this damage and actually set up and engage one, because look at these various slow members for Skyfoxes. They have a Torb, they have an Orisa, they have a Hanzo. It's very easy to set up and engage on these players. They are doing that. They're getting Hot Take now onto the D.Va, putting Joel onto the Winston. They have an EMP if they need it. There's no beat for the Mac just yet, so an EMP can just lock everyone into place, guarantee the dive. Square One looking to come up and engage here.
So for now, setting up the EMP. Goes to the Orisa, immediately drops it. Dragon, though, in from Skyfox the other side, covering the Orisa. It's a smart Dragon. Meanwhile, Attitude gets on Brigade on the other side, 5-on-5, and Attitude, room to work with, already has two. Looking at the D.Va, chasing down the D-Mech, and Update's out of it.
Square One not in position to fall for their EMP at all. They should have been on top of the statue. They should have been there on that flank. Everyone should have been there at that moment, right in front of them as soon as the EMP was coming out, but they just weren't split. They lost a pick. Attitude's gonna drop the pulse bomb, just marking the grave site, be like, ah, there he is. There he rests. Bye-bye, Dove. And now Skyfoxes, they built up Molten Core, they built up a Supercharger. There's really no support ult at all from Square One. This is a very tough fight. This composition seems to be working. And as you said, that Attitude's picked off, he's bashed.
I'll give it to him, though. I mean, the aggression was, so far, he's up on the series for the aggression, though. Loses Chris early, makes his next fight a little bit more difficult. Lastro opens up the Molten Core, just completely steals off one side that Skyfox is going to be playing from for now. Give Winston a hot foot if he jumps on in, but goes the other way, goes to the snow, takes down one. And Square One should be able to secure the point off this, but Skyfox is one fight away, and they have EMP.
They're going to make the swap now. They're going to make the swap to Sombra Goods, I think. Square One finally just being all on the same target at the same time, just walking into them, because they had no way to really stop that engage, the composition that Skyfox was running. Good hack from Dub as well, and really good communication and follow for Jolt to just hear that, hey, Hoon's hacked. No EMP, he needs to get Dove so he can't translocate away, and he did. He goes down. Now Skyfox is looking to re-enter. They have EMP. Tri-Spear cannot get caught. Neither can Big Ol. Both these players cannot get caught by this EMP, because if they stay alive, they'll win this fight.
Dove, meanwhile, looking for a hack from the back. Skyfox is being very aggressive and and how far they're moving up. Hoon gonna drop the EMP, hits 3. Quite early, they're looking for Jolt. They finish off Jolt. Comes at Costo, 5-on-5. Come on, man. Good pressure, getting blessed on the other side. Slowly backing up, and Dove and Hot Take get into the backline. Skyfoxes about to lose their EMP fight, and now they just need a reset. They don't have much time.
If they commit to this fight and lose, the map is over. There's the EMP catching 3. Attitude can't even rally. They committed for so long, and now they're getting staggered. They're going to have to walk back in here. They'll have
Attitude
rally, but it's just a really bad position.
They're going to have to give up someone early here. And Attitude
can't even touch. Can't even touch.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get back there in time. That is going to be the round, the square one, and that is the round. That's the map, square one. We're in overtime.
I guess he does.
Somehow able to get back over. Skyfox is not entirely out of it yet. Pretty low, self-destruct to the side, catches the Sombra. Square one up 2. And oh, Skyfoxes can't stand the point.
That's map. There's map for square one. And Skyfox is making some innovative decisions there with the comp. It was working, but finally square one just said, wait, let's play 3-3 and walk into them with our dive tanks. And that's exactly what they do. They own the point there. And then there was a situation where Skyfox, they could have gone some eco push out. They could have, after they used the EMP and forced those ults, they could have just repushed the next fight. But they just committed so long. They committed so long. They got staggered. They also, I mean, Big Ol and Tri-Spear made sure not to get caught by that EMP from Hoon. Because they weren't, they were able to win the fight regardless.
There is a lot of wisdom to the idea that if you're going to lose the fight, just make sure you lose quickly, where it was that extra 20 or 5% or so that they stayed in, where it makes all the difference in the world between, can we approach this next fight in a reasonable fashion, or do we have to give up the life of someone immediately just to stay in it? And unfortunately, they stand a little bit too long, and it works against them. And remember the stakes at this matchup here. Skyfoxes, though they're not in playoff trouble should they lose, it's just a bad omen for the rest of their season. Meanwhile, for square one, if there's going to be any sort of resurgence for them, it really does have to start here.
The time is now. We are going to be getting into our second map. Just getting ready to go. Both squads getting in here. And square one, they found their footing after some very non-traditional play there. I don't think we've quite seen the solo heal Lucio, Torb, Orisa strategy. And very, very minimal healing. And Square one realized that they could just walk into them. There's nothing to do, because that comp would make a little bit more synergistic sense if there was like a Mei to stop the aggression. You can split. But because they were just able to walk that, it's very tough to find the value there. So we're just getting ready for both squads to get into this their second map of the series.
And it's going to be Paris, where we're heading to next, where Skyfox is already showing, you know, we want to run more Orisa, Hog, Torb type strategies. So if they come out with something like a Torb Mei, you know, go full Clockwork, would not be super surprising as we look towards Paris. But again, who knows? We are very much in the who really can expect anything on any given map meta right now, because it has been shifting and teams' identities just continually change up on a weekly basis, it feels like. Except Shock.
Except Shock. Well, Shock is on Contenders, so also very good that their identity is not changing too much here. That would be kind of crazy if they were playing in both. It'd be a little bit crazy. So it is Paris. Going to be Assault again here as our second map of the series. I imagine we might see some more very wonky compositions, especially for Skyfoxes after seeing their control. See, I've been phase 2 as well. In one of the previous series today, we're playing Torb a lot on control outside of Sanctum. Torb just seems to be in. It's in. Dwarves are cool, guys.
Can we still blame Outlaws for starting all this? I don't think that's actually accurate, but I enjoy the narrative that they're the ones that unleashed all the chaos, the Overwatch League level now just filtered on down. But it is going to be square one here on the defense, running with the Sombra Widow. Square one, meanwhile, on the offense, coming in with Ashe. Or sorry, square one is on defense. Square one in the offense or defense, running with the Ashe, Junkrat, Skyfoxes.
They're playing triple DPS.
Yeah.
Little triple DPS here. Gonna have to re-enter. They've already made it through the choke, which is one of the hardest parts. Tri-Spear combining with that Ashe, be able to put down Lashro, but they've had to trade some frags thrown. They can't lose anyone right now because there's no res available anymore. Angelica just used that to bring Dove up. And Skyfoxes, they're fully in. They're in through the choke. They're setting up this dive. They're setting up these poke angles. This is where Square One's comp starts to fall apart a little bit. They have to find some counter frags.
Skyfox is buying their time, and well, there's the early pickoff they're looking for. Busio able to get on the Junkrat immediately. And now they're just rotating over the point. Clement, though, going to fall. We'll see what Attitude can do with this opening here. Does not want to continue finding the Orisa. Busio, meanwhile, still scouring for pickoffs on the other side. Looking for the honor right now. Might have had a chance, but Skyfoxes, you see the Sombra and 76 just move on in. Boostio following on through, and they've done enough to carve their way through point A.
I like this quad DPS strategy here where Lastro comes out here on addition. He was actually playing the Pharah earlier. It was, I don't think it was triple DPS, but it was Lastro there. Also comes back on the Soldier. And with the Soldier, they can just put so much shield presence there onto Jolf, and they can split them. There's not that much healing for Square One. There really is not that much to stop that quad DPS. As Skyfox is moving into the last, they're going to have Valkyrie. They're going to have the EMP very soon. Square One swapping to a full 3-3-7. Actually, a quad tank. Not even going to play Brigida. I think that's smart. Brigida's not going to be very smart against this ball. Hog, he's a staying. You can look at the hooks.
Pulse Bomb Tempo attitude not quite going to connect. Skyfoxes, though, still working with a bit of momentum. One man slept on the other side. Forcing Max to use Valkyrie early. Mana boost in from Square One. Meanwhile, still see Attitude working on the flank right now, looking for any opportunity. Not gonna get too much off the Nano Boost Diva.
The EMP caught 4 though. EMP caught 4 right now, and Skyfoxes, they have Hot Take. Hot Take tagged low. Can Lastro get any value from this aimbot?
Boostio in the back line with 2. Boostio continuing his assault from the back. Attitude in front, Attitude gonna fall. This is still decent for Skyfoxes. Gonna give him 1 tick here on the point.
It's more than decent. This is looking like a very winnable fight here.
See Boostio under pressure. Oh, hits the mine on the other side, and Skyfoxes about to cap this one out. Square One looking to emergency Doomfisted. It's stall and delay from them, but it's not going to be for long.
Are they now going to connect next? Max, he's blowing towards another Valkyrie. Lastro, another aimbot this entire time. Attitude is back. And slowly but surely, this point is going the way of Skyfoxes. And the quad DPS strategy, finding value even against that full quad tank. I actually don't necessarily... the quad tank makes more sense for me than the Brigida, perhaps. But I really would prefer perhaps just swapping off that comp entirely, getting like a 2-2-2, because you need to zone. You need to be able to zone. You need to be able to chase. While quad tank, you can't really catch them. You can't catch quad DPS. You can't find them. You don't have any other ults to even lock them in place.
And the issue is that if you overcommit chasing one DPS, you're now giving opportunities to the other DPS, where essentially your tankiness in a quad DPS setup just comes from the fact that you're spending a lot of time chasing people that can run away from you. At least most of the DPS heroes can, for what they were running.
So now, Square One going to be getting ready to go on their offense, and a very quick time for Skyfoxes, by the way, 5:16. That's to talk about, because that's quite a quick time for Paris. It's not impossible for that to be equal because you're going to have to counter Snowball. But the quad, once again, Skyfoxes, like I talked about, they brought out a very eccentric composition, employing a lot of quad DPS, and Square One just didn't know how to counter it. They didn't know what to deal with that. And it's one of those scenarios where people have sort of forgotten. They've been so long. It's like, oh, we're playing PvP. Oh, we're playing Bunker. We're playing Sombra Goats. Wait, we can play 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports, and effectively zone and duel at the same time, guys. We don't have to choose. We can do it all.
It's been lost to time. It's the knowledge of the ancients, and it's gone. At least to some teams at the moment. But we're going to see Skyfoxes here on the defense, running something a little bit more traditional in current times. Not quad DPS, 3-2-1 instead. And of course, for them, it's just going to be buying time towards EMP. Square One running something that's quite a bit more DPS heavy. And that's a Symmetra, and it's still being played.
It is definitely there, but I doubt that. I think they were just using it for the ability to put the teleporter up and put it in spawn, then you just teleport it back instantly. It saves you a lot of time for the scout, for the swap. Square One now going to swap here to Sombra Goats. Going to be mirroring Skyfoxes, actually. It's going to be a complete mirror for both sides. But right now, this neutral fight, it's really, a lot of this is going to be on, can Dove bring people back to the point to let Square One in? Can he get a value hack?
Dove, meanwhile, just going to be on the point, looking for a free tick. Might actually get it, while the rest of Skyfox
he is going to get it. He's getting the free tick. He's going to get more than the free tick. He's going to get not 2 ticks, but he's getting more percentage. Skyfoxes wanted to commit, just win the fight, said, we don't care about ticks, which I actually think is pretty smart. Because at the end of the day, early on, especially on that first tick, Skyfoxes don't have to worry about giving up a tick. Because if they just win the first fight, it's very important. They've already built up an EMP advantage now.
I think you're right. It is smart in how they approached it. I mean, it's risky if the fight goes against you even a little bit, but it was decisive. Their gambit has paid off. Now the next fight is going to be a lot more difficult for Square One.
It's also tough for that fight to go against you, considering you have 6 players versus 5, because they committed Boostio in this fight.
Heavy pressure coming into the side room here. Skyfox is not wanting to give up much, if anything, for free. Gold Man hang on to a Shatter in reserve, and Square One deciding, you know what, left side didn't work. We're going to rotate around the right. but still very likely to be heading into the maw of an EMP Shatter.
EMP Shatter or EMP Aid, either way. There's the EMP catching 5.
You need the Shatter. They just use the EMP to bully the Ryan on the other side. Playman gets to keep swinging the hammer, and Shatter stays in reserve.
Shatter stays up. Skyfoxes continue to build ults of their own. Now Square One finally getting to the EMP, getting the Nano. So they're going to have some ults here to break it up, but they don't have the Shatter. They don't have either yet. Skyfoxes will have a Nano to survive this EMP. They need to play split, though. That's the key. If Attitude and Lastro can play split from this, and they only catch maybe Hoon and Clone Man, then they can drop the Nano, keep someone alive, they can pop the Rally, have the armor pack up. All they have to do is just play very split against this comp, because there is no Shatter to follow up immediately. Looks like they want to engage first, actually.
They use Nano to Clone Man, say, Clone Man, go have fun in that room. They lose their Sombra very early on, though. I think they thought Clone Man would get a little more. EMP out from Square One. They seize the opportunity. They move on forward. Jolt's going to drop the Shatter. Graviton catching them all together. But Skyfoxes that lose Clone Man, they don't get a chance to get a good Shatter off. Square One working with a much bigger numerical advantage, and they're just going to bring this forward into the point.
Skyfoxes can be happy with this one. Yeah. They took the time off first. They also removed some of those support ults from Square One. No grab, no Shatter, no EMP. All that's gone. They'll have double support ult coming into last. But that's fine if you're Skyfoxes, because you have a Shatter of your own. If they want to overcommit on you, Clone can just look to get past the shield. Mac will build up a beat. This is a very good position to be in if you're Skyfoxes.
Already, they're guaranteed a quicker time no matter what, and oh, goodbye.
You get slept. The sleeps for the Anas today have been on point in a lot of these series.
Sleep darts just magically finding their way towards Sombras.
I can hear Fact Fiction raging, just writhing in his chair, saying, no, not the sleep dart, anything but that.
What, you mean the most fair ability in the game? Where, by the way, I do think it's pretty fair, but...
It's pretty fair.
I think it's very fair, but I would say that it's a fact just to put him on tilt, is what I would do. Because he doesn't think the ability's fair. He's very...
He has main tank bias. He has a lot of main tank bias there.
Stop sleeping me! Well, Square One taking quite a bit of time on the rotations in. Skyfoxes just poking the neutral, buying time, and oh, very lucky not to lose Attitude. Their Attitude got chunked. Dub still on the outskirts. Skyfoxes, they get time to reestablish. They have an EMP up of their own. Now they're just waiting for Square One to commit on to the point.
They want Square One to commit here, just like you were talking about, because if they can get them in a position where the EMP is more effective, where they can catch Angelic or Tri-Spirit early before the ults come out, there's going to be EMP. There's the beat. Big Ol's already down, though.
They just use EMP to deal with the Brigida. They don't go in Jolt because of the Nano, but it's still a pretty good fight for Skyfoxes. You're the defense. You don't need to be perfect, but they just might be anyways. 2 early pickoffs, and now they just get to roll directly into Square One. And time starting to be a huge pain to Square One right now.
They were able to remove both support ults in that fight as well, because they just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. They know when double support ult is up, one of the worst things you can do generally, especially against the team that, especially while you're defending, is to go too aggressive with your EP, because you have the likelihood where they're in a much better spot to defend against it. It's better to have them spread out and try to pressure the point, because the neutral fight's very good for you because you're in mirror matchups. So now Square One have to re-enter here again versus double support ult. Skyfoxes, they have EMP, they have Shatter. Skyfoxes, they need to either go first, they need to be, or they can be split. They can't have everyone get caught by this EMP. They need to make sure their supports are in position to save Clone Man, to save whoever.
Dove biding his time. Here in the back, EMP. Ready to go.
Look how split Skyfoxes are playing here. They can only catch Clone Man.
Well, they immediately shatter Clone Man right after, but the Nano is there. Clone Man gets on up, ready to go. Swing the hammer back the other way. EMP out from Boostio, and Skyfoxes. Very good ult usage to deal with the engage of Square One, especially the Nano on the Clone Man.
And they just played split. They just played extremely split. It's the hard part for EMP when you're running a mirror comp like this right now, where defense, they have all the advantages. Skyfoxes have all the advantages of an EMP, where you must go to a point, so you can always just wait to set up the perfect EMP, or just pressure someone to use an ult early and then set up your EMP. Square One, they have to actually remove Skyfoxes, put yourself in a position where you have to use the EMP first, where you don't even necessarily get a great poke, get any early ult usage. It's much tougher to set it up.
Boostio be rotating around the back, looking for the hack perhaps on the Jolf, but easier said than done at times. Gets out on Angelic, not a bad hack to start things off.
Skyfoxes might go for an aggressive grab here. There's nothing to eat. They know there's no support ults, but
that's a shatter. Clone Man immediately puts 3 onto the floor. No shields in his way. Seizing the opportunity. Square One down to what should be their final 2 fights, and oftentimes might be the final fight if they're not swift about it.
Jolf getting defeated by the shift key there. I think that he went a little too deep, as they say, in the business, and that is definitely what I say, and I'm in the business, because Jolf charged way past that choke. Cloman just saw there was no big rectangle in sight. It was a free shatter.
Square One moving back out, and I do think this is probably last fight territory unless they get wiped immediately here or force the fight directly on in. Skyfoxes holding back. Square One, they do go direct to the point. It's what they need to do. Nano boost on the Jolf. Jolf swinging away, gets the Zari on the other side. Hoon's down. Hoon has Graviton as well. Blastro out. Jolf somehow catches two, brings Cloman in for a ride. Jolf just working magic right now, and this is exactly what Square One needed on this push.
They need to finish this fight before Hoon is back. If Hoon's back, grab EMP is available for Skyfoxes. They just need to stay alive. They can give up ticks. They literally can wait till 2 ticks are on the point. They're going to be positioned. Here goes grab EMP. Angelic cannot get caught.
Graviton in. Where's Boostio? Where's EMP? EMP strips the barrier. A well-timed EMP, and I don't even think that was intentional. I think that was just bad luck for the offense of Square One.
No, it was intentional because Angelic was in grab. Angelic, he couldn't get caught by grab. That was the one thing he could not do. It was a catch-22, though. They were doomed either way. They don't beat, then they get killed in grab, right? If they do beat, they get stripped. It was honestly just the worst possible scenario.
5 seconds left, but should be Skyfox's map evening things back up. Overtime is put in progress, so there's a very slight degree of hope. EMP out from Dove, but Skyfox is just in a fully dominant position right now. Square One does stagger away, back on in. Shatter coming on in for Cloman, gonna be finishing it on out. Skyfoxes make it even here at the half.
I get some frags late, but it's definitely done. Skyfox is playing this defense magnificently. Their offense using some creativity, and Square One just not knowing how to respond. Skyfoxes, they even it up, and going into the third map, it's really anyone's game.
And Skyfoxes looked a lot better out of control and into Assault, where they are a team that does have more backing, that has more of a pedigree, even though they have gone through a lot of roster changes over the last 2 seasons. Not too surprising that they would look better on Assault, but still, we're living in the era of chaos right now in terms of team compositions. We still don't know what to expect from map to map.
It's a team still experimenting as well to deal with the resurgence in a lot of ways of the more Orisa Hog strategies.
Yeah.
Where oftentimes it's like, do we want to trade shield? Do we want to dive? Do we want to counter bunker? And for their Skyfox answers when they saw the Orisa was, let's quad DPS and just always win shield, always be around the shield. We don't even necessarily have to worry about it. And I think it's a very valid strategy, and they made it work excellently on the offense. On the defense, they just played the mirror of the Sombra Goats far better. And so Skyfoxes look just fantastic.
Well, it's all evened up here at the half. What's going to happen next half? You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. We'll be back in just a few minutes.